So it's idling, guys. It definitely needs obviously the air restriction. You know, there's no doubt about that. What indicator's on? Definitely needs the air restriction. I charged the battery last night. It didn't look too healthy. I'm not sure if that works, but I'd really like to just pop this up and down the road to see if it at least moves. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch over, let it warm up first actually, and then I'll switch over to the real battery. Actually, I better test the real battery on leads first, in case it's dead. And then I'd like to just run it just up and down there and see if it just moves, if the shaft drive works, if the gearbox works, and so on. Let's see if it'll run off its real battery. What was that? I don't know what happened there. Let me throw on my booster box and see if... Actually, I probably blew a fuse. Let's have a look in the box. What number's ignition? Second one, 10. From what way? Like that. Main is the 30. Let me pop that out with something. Nope, main's not blown. Okay, so let me put on my booster box because this battery could just have had it. It could be crap. So we got fuel spill again there, guys. Look. It means the float's not switching it off. I'm not sure if that's the carb I worked on or not. That's a right pain. Honestly, the carb probably needs a rebuild kit. I don't know how much that is, 50-60 quid if you can get it. And even then, it's not running too great anyway. At the moment, this was not a good buy for the price. I've bought better for less. But, saying that, we're meant to be saving the bike. Where is it coming from? It's interesting. What was that? It's coming from here, it's coming straight up, all the way up the jet, so it's definitely not shutting off the fuel in this carb, except I just checked them all. You can see it's still spilling out, it's quite slow, but it builds up and then it tips. Although it will stop in a minute because I've gone to suction method instead of prime. If I put it back to prime, it will keep filling up because this flow isn't shutting off that bowl. Yeah, see, look, it builds up. Alright, so at some point, carb's off again. So annoying. So I was adjusting this bowl here. I don't know if that's the one I adjusted a minute ago actually, but yeah, I'm gonna fit it back in now. Put the flow on to prime and see what happens. Obviously once I've put the bowl on. So the best thing to do now is throw on the tank and just leave it on prime for a few minutes and see what happens. So let's watch for a minute. It's on prime now. That means fuel is flowing. Let's see what happens. I should maybe fire it up again, see if that helps. Oh, look far side, guys. Far side carb is spilling. Look at that. Ridiculous. Alright, I didn't put them on properly. Pop it straight back off. And do the same thing to that far side carb. All I did was adjust the float so it cut off a bit earlier, so it was hard to get it so that it was letting enough fuel in, but I obviously over adjusted one of them. So yeah, let's sort that out. Alright guys, so 8 millionth time lucky. Let's see. So I've done the outside and the inside carb now. The middle two seemed fine. I bet now one of the middle two start playing up. Let's go to prime. And this is it. All you gotta do is sit there, wait and watch. I can't see anything yet, but it did take a minute last time. All the bowls have to fill up first. Far side bowl again. Exactly the one I just worked on, look. Absolutely pouring out. That's ridiculous. I don't know what else to do on that one. So the plan is, guys, I've got this other carb out. I'm going to switch over the cut-off needle there, see if it's the same size, see if that makes a difference. Okay guys, it's gone all dark, it's raining. I changed that needle over. Let's see if it makes a difference. It normally takes over a minute to start pouring out. To be fair, it pours out so you can't miss it. Let's see if the new needle solved that issue. Hard to tell, isn't it? It was over a minute last time though. It took, I remember seeing the camera. And I remember getting to a minute and thinking, oh, I should hook up leads and fire it up. But, yeah. So far, so good. Let's give it a bit of a tip and a tilt. Oh, hang on. Did I see something there? Did you guys? Minute 15. Oh, I don't know. At the moment, we're looking. All right. Let's see anything. I mean, you can't miss it. It was a river, you know. It wasn't tiny. I think the new needle solved that issue, guys. I think. Oh, hang on a minute. No, that's fine. It's not pouring. I am definitely on prime up there, look, to the right, prime. And it's not pouring out. Oh God, we could have finally got all these carbs solved. Hopefully. Let's see. Let me hook it up and see if we can get a bit of noise in the garage. Okay, so a couple of minutes later, there's no carb flowing problems at this stage, so that's good. But when I tried to fire it up on its own battery, it didn't fire up, and I think that it was flooded because of the flow of the fuel coming out the carb. So let's see if we're any better off. Wait, still no flow. Would you want choke? Yeah. It's not the stand, is it? Okay, so we've got a couple of things going on here, guys. We are low on fuel, which has just kind of reminded me that might be why it's not flowing out that carb. So I'm going to go and get some new fuel. And what was the second thing? And we're still not restricting any airflow. That shouldn't stop it, really. It should just run and idle, and it should actually ride as well. But you can't tell. It won't ride perfectly. There has to be some restriction in the airflow, really. Unless, of course, you upjet it. So, yep, I'm going to go and get some fuel, put more in the tank. More will just come straight out of the carb, and we'll go straight back to square one. Okay, everyone. So I'm aware it's quite low on fuel. I'm going to top it up with a couple of litres. We'll keep an eye on that carb. It's still on prime. Make sure it don't overflow. Let's see if we can get it to idle now and keep an eye on that carb still. Yeah, good, you? Okay, so the next step is them carbs aren't on properly, as in I've not tightened it all up, so I need to tighten it all up. Getting it to run like that is silly anyway. I'll need to balance the carbs again and look at the air fuel on the left side if to try and balance it all a bit closer. It's a long old drawn out process. I think I'm going to pop the spark plugs. I think I'm going to pop the spark plugs, clean them, check them. I might just do this one and see what it's like. If it's terrible, I'll pop them all. If it's not too bad, I'll leave them. But yeah, so let me get these. I mean, they're not leaking anymore. That's the main thing. They're not spilling fuel everywhere, so that's good. And I'll get the balancer back on, see if I can get that all look a little bit better, and we'll see where we go from there. But I've tried every single one I have. and none of them fit. I don't know why that let me get that out. Every single one and none of them fit. What size is this? It's gonna be some sort of specialist thin one. I'm gonna keep looking in case I've got any more in there, but so annoying. Okay guys, so it's a thin wall 18. That's what's coming out. I mean, it looks terrible, but once cleaned up, it's not actually that bad. I will probably order a new set. Anyway, it would be silly not to. So I'll clean that up, throw it back in. I've done 2 already, this is the 3rd. I've got 1 more to do after this. Okay, so in some ways I'm set up better up for the 2nd carb sync, and in other ways I'm not, because it actually well, it ran a bit better earlier actually, didn't it, before now, even though I've done all the carb work. So let's see what they look like roughly. It just needs to idle, even if it's full choke, it doesn't matter. It just needs to do something to get some vacuum, and then we will see how far out we are. There's still something not quite right, because the far left side is all the way in and the far right side is all the way out. So I mean, that is the whole point of thinking, but I've never known them to be that far apart. So I'm going to see if it idles first, and then if we can get a bit more understanding of what's going on. We've done much more carb work now, and all the carbs are sealed, they're not spilling fuel, fingers crossed. So it should really be a bit better. Let's have a look. Yeah, if it don't actually start, we're screwed. I'm going to try and show you a bit closer. They're all fairly close, but this far side one is still slightly out. And I think the only way to resolve that is through the air fuel mixture screw. I'm going to give that a shot. It's hard because it's only running with full choke at the moment. So, right, sorry, I'm just setting up the tripod. So you have a look at the balancer there, and you'll see that they're all fairly close, except this one here is a tiny bit out. So I need to bring this one just in line, and then they should all be spot on. I'll just show you that quickly. Let's go back on. It's okay if it's just idling. Otherwise I have to do it with full choke again. Alright, let's get it running. Oh, come on. Okay, so you saw that. So I'm going to go half a screw in on this first air fuel and see if that brings it down a bit. It's going to be hard to get into this one. Sometimes you're better off with just one of these. So you've got to kind of feel it bite. Which is not happening. Right, there you go. I'm going to try half a turn in. So I went half a turn in there. Half a turn in. So I'm going to go another half a turn in just out of curiosity. And then if that doesn't work, I'll go to out. So on that carb alone, I'm at one full turn back in now. Let's just see. It was nice that it nearly idled. So I don't think that did enough, so I'm going to come back out the one turn, and then I'm going to go back, I'm going to come out one turn and then keep going out another whole turn. So I'm now basically one more turn out than all the other carbs. Let's see if that's made any difference. Oh, come on. That's closer. I'm going to go half a turn more out. Let's see if that brings it in line. It definitely needs upjing. that's probably as close as I'll ever get it, and that's not too bad at all. What's not good is it's not idling. I mean, it feels like it's close to idling, and it idled earlier. Full choke. Actually, we're out of fuel, aren't we? Right, yeah. Okay. I think I need to try and see if the original things will go on. What are they called? The connectors for the airbox. If they will go on, I can do a patch job for now and put some sort of air restriction on there. So that's it for today, guys. God, I don't know what time I got here. 9 this morning, and it's 4 o'clock now. So what's that? 7 hours. I spent 7 hours on this bike at the moment, and you know, it doesn't sound or seem to be any better than it was, but without the air filters, you just can't tell at this stage. There has to be some sort of air restriction, or the carbs need to be massively upjetted. They've got 108s in them. I've got 4110s. I found 4110s, but if it doesn't idle to start with, then that, you know, that you got an issue there straight away. So I mean, it should idle on the jets it has already, but again, until we restrict the airflow, I'm going to make a temporary air filter for each carb tonight using the standard connectors there, and see if we can get it running a bit better, if it's a bit more tunable tomorrow. Most of the work's been done, so that's good. And my new fuel bottle system using hot glue on the inside worked a treat, so that's good. So that's like my Pepsi Max long-term solution to carb adjustments. But yeah, it can be a bit disheartening spending 7 hours on a bike and not having got to the part where you're polishing it up, but it's really unrealistic, I guess. This bike's been off the road since 2013 after looking at the MOTs last night, which I didn't know about, and I bought this bike with no information at all. I definitely paid 250 too much for this bike. Remember, I got the red one for 500 a while back. That was in better condition, which I can get back actually. So I mean, again, it's about saving the bike, so I'm gonna keep going. I've been around this all day today. I like the blue, I like the look. When I looked at it, let me show you the angle I looked at it from, and I thought, wow, that actually works. It was that angle, and I thought, actually, that really does work. So it's going to be blue at the front, black in the middle, and then black and red at the back. So that's absolutely fine. I haven't got much time tomorrow, so on Wednesday my overall focus is going to be setting up the rules for this competition and actually setting the start date. It will be exactly a month from that date that somebody wins this bike. Ideally it will be a Saturday or Sunday, so I'll have to try and work that out. But yeah, very busy. If anyone wants to buy this on test, they can have it dirt cheap. It needs the back brake doing, and I just haven't got the time or energy for it. Honestly, for ease, you'd be better off just buying a new caliper and a new line and a new master cylinder and throwing it all back together. That'll cost you about 100 quid, and you can have this for 500 if you want. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know. I can deliver it if it's in London, just for the fuel money, really, 30, 40, 50 quid. And otherwise, we've still got the S3 available. It's nuts that hasn't gone. It's my favourite bike. The Bandit 400 is a great bike, and the zl600 is you know, mint. So let's get buying, guys, and I'll see you, or I'll make a new video for you on Wednesday.